So it's been a while since my last video tutorial. I think it's been a couple of months now. Usually the case with a busy work schedule and whatnot. So this one, we're going to get straight into it. My videos usually revolve around a certain artist and their specific sound. However, in this video I thought it'd be more beneficial for people to actually understand how we create them UK bassline sounds. So that you can make them yourself, really. We'll be looking at FM basses, which is most common in UK house and UK bassline, widely known, as you'll be able to tell from the sound. It's a frequency modulation bass in Serum. So all I've got in front of me is a song that I'd been working on. It's got a blank MIDI track on it there, and we'll start from people who are beginners. So then, as you can see, all I've got is initial preset on Serum set up against the MIDI bassline I'd already written. Some drums in the background. This is a song that I'd obviously been working on in the meantime, but let's have a look. We'll open up Serum. So we're going to start by having an initial preset, which is just a blank slate to work on. And for basic FM bass, you're only going to need to use one oscillator, although you can use more for more complex sounds. So we're just going to activate oscillator A, and then we're going to choose a waveform for oscillator A. By clicking on the wavetable, select analog and basic shapes. That'll give us a nice sine wave to start off with. So we'll drop down the octave, down one. It will depend on how you've set out or how you've written your MIDI track. For example, mine set at G1. If you set it at G2, you'll probably need to pull that down 2 octaves and adjust it accordingly anyway. So we'll just set oscillator A and turn that level up full. And now we move over to oscillator B. Essentially, you're doing the same thing again, selecting analog and basic shapes, getting a sine wave up, but this time we don't want to be using oscillator B, as in the sense of we don't want to hear it. So you turn the level all the way down on oscillator B, because all we're going to use it for is to modulate oscillator A. Pull it up 1 octave. So we're going to set up the frequency modulation now. So you click on the warp menu and FM from B. And that's just basically telling oscillator B to modulate the frequency of oscillator A without hearing it. So we'll just turn up that knob and we'll see what that sounds like. We've got a very deep sine wave there. Quite like that, to be fair. So then, to give your bass sound a bit more movement, all we've got to do is adjust the envelope. Now, this sort of bass in UK house tends to use a bit more of a plucky sound, so you're going to want a fast attack with a short decay essentially, and then once you've got it to the settings that I've got on screen here, or roughly thereabouts, make it your own. Just drag and drop that over to the FM, and then you can reduce that down, and what we'll do, we'll gradually bring it in and have a listen to that one. So as you can see, at the low end of the level, we've got that classic house MK Joel Corry style bass. As we push it up, we're creeping more into the bass line scene with Holy Goof and that kind of noise. In between, we've got a bit of Sammy Virgie as well, I think. So there's a bit more we can do to this by adding a filter. I use low 18 and then pull down the frequency all the way and then drag and drop the envelope across. Adjust it to how you like, or you can copy what you can see on screen. I tend to have it sitting around here. If anything, it just complements the envelope that you've set up. So now it's time for some effects. I'm going to go with some distortion, diode 2. That tends to be a nicer one for this one. Don't want too much, just pull it back a little bit on the mix. We're only going to want some slight compression on this, nothing too serious. And then we'll also have some delay as well, delay and reverb I'm thinking, but again not too much, just enough to give it a little bit of space. So if you didn't know already, you can set up macros just to be able to control your sound and change it on the fly. Your macros can essentially change more than one thing at once. I'm just going to show you how to set them up here and essentially what they do. Have a listen. So I'm just going to knock them effects down ever so slightly. Just think there's a little bit too much. Let's listen. So then, if I pump them up with the macros, I'm going to turn the tempo up and you'll see the difference. We're going to edge towards the bass line scene from the same sound. There we go. Let's bring it back down. So then that's it for this tutorial. Hopefully you found something useful. If you come up with anything or you use these sounds, feel free to hit me up in the comments below.